Hey guys, Matt here. Wanted to do a quick video and show how easy it is to get the Icom 7610 working on the digital modes, specifically WSJT and all the different digital modes that you can do within it. So, first thing you want to do is you want to go to Icom's website and download the USB drivers before you even connect the radio to your computer. You need to download the USB drivers. So I found them on Icom Japan, and you can see the website address there. So you just go to icomjapan.com/support/firmware_driver /. Okay, then you type in Icom 7610 in the search. It will come up with everything pertaining to the 7610. You have your firmwares and all kinds of stuff. And down here at the bottom are the two driver versions that it comes up with. You want the latest one, especially if you're running Windows 10. The latest version of Windows 10, which it now supports, version 1.30. So you click that, scroll down, shows you what all this driver is compatible for. It's also good for the 7300 as well as all these different radios. You want to scroll down. You gotta click that little button to make it to where you can download. So once the driver's downloaded, you'll want to extract it. It downloads it into a zip file. Windows 10 natively supports zip, so you shouldn't have to install any type of zip program. Now this is on a brand new fresh install of Windows 10, which I have just done. I got a brand new computer and had to reinstall Windows 10, so this is what is causing me to reset up everything. So after you've downloaded the driver and extracted it, you will have a little folder. I just installed it, put it on my desktop, and within that folder you'll have two folders that look like this. Obviously, you want the Windows 10 one. I'm running the 64-bit version of Windows, so you'll want to install x64. If you're running 32-bit, you'll want to install x86. It's a very quick install. If you blink twice, you'll miss it. If for some reason your computer's locked down, you may have to right click and click Run as Administrator, or take it one step further, you may have to hold down the Shift button and right click and tell it to run as another user, and then type in the administrator password, username and password, if the username that you are currently logged in as does not have administrator privileges. Hopefully you've got all that worked out. So, if this is a home computer, surely to goodness, you're working under a username that has administrator privileges. If not, you'll have to contact the person that set you up. This other folder in here, it says it's for Windows 7, Windows 8, and for whatever reason, Let me zoom in there. It's got Windows 10 on there too. I don't know if that's a older driver or what, but I went ahead and installed it as well. I don't know if that hurt anything or not, but I selected the x64 version of that as well and installed it. Like I said, it doesn't take very long to do. You may try just doing the Windows 10 version and see if it works. So that's it for the driver portion. Next, I'll show you what you need to do for your radio. Now, this is before you even plug in any cables between the computer and the radio. So, anyway, I'll be back in just a minute. Alright guys, here's my 7610. I'm trying to hold my camera in one hand and film on the other, so bear with me. You'll need to go into menu and go into set, go into connectors, and you'll want to go into CIV. Okay, and you'll want to make sure that your baud rate is set to 9200. Okay, and leave the CIV address as 98H because WSJT now supports the 7610. Used to, you had to change that to a different computer, or I mean, a different rig address. But the creators of the program now supports the 7610, so that's all good. The only other thing you need to change in here or monkey with is CIV USB port. You need to change it to link to remote. Make those two changes. CIV baud rate, change it, make sure it's on 9200. I believe mine was set to auto out of the box. Changes to 9200. Okay, and change the change the CIV USB port. Change it to link to remote. That's all you need to make in this menu. That's all the changes you need to make. Get out of there. Don't make any more changes. Okay? Alright, and the only other spot that you need to go into is you need to scroll up and go to mod input. Okay, I have my USB mod level set to 60%. It by default it's at 50. You can play with these. This is what my computer works best at. That's what I found. Yours may work differently, but you can play around with it. You'll need to set the only other setting in here is you'll need to set the data to mod right there. Make sure that's set on USB. That's all the changes that you need to make on the radio. Don't change anything else. Once you make that one little change, and if you decide to change the USB mod level, that's fine. I would leave it at 50% just to start out with, and you can change it around a little bit. Depending on what sound levels you need to set your computer at, you can change this and then adjust your mic settings on your computer later. We'll get into that later. So just make sure the data to mod is set to USB. Once you set that, get out of this menu. Hit the back button 3 times and you're back out. That's all the changes that you need to make on your radio. Don't change anything else and you won't have any more problems. Or you won't have any problems. Alright? Now, the only other thing, and this is what kind of drove me nuts to start out with, is you'll want to make sure, even though this is on 40 meters, make sure is that you are in USB-D2. And what that means is that you're in upper sideband data 2 mode, okay? And how you get there is you hit sideband. Okay, you'll start out in lower sideband, okay? And I'll show you how to get there. So you hit you tap up here to bring the mode menu up. Then you hit SSB to get in USB mode. And then mine's already going into it because it remembers it. But how you get into it is that you press and you hold data down, okay? And then you have to hit it twice. It'll go into D1 mode, and then you hit it again, and it will go into D2. You need to make sure it goes into D2. You need to make sure the display says USB-D2. That's the only other setting that you need to make sure that your radio's in for this to work. Alright. After that, once you've got your settings changed, you got your driver installed, plug in your USB cable going from your radio to your computer. This will install the driver, or this will cause the driver to be initialized or installed. I don't know the correct terminology. And it will be set up on your Windows 10 machine. So once all that is complete, I will go into WSJT and show you the settings in there that you need to change. So we'll be back. Alright guys, here's WSJT. As you can see, I'm on 40 meters. I've already got mine configured, but I'll go into the configuration setup and show you what I've done. At this point, you should have gotten your Windows 10 box configured. You should have gotten your radio configured, and you should have connected the USB cable between them. Okay. You can go into Device Manager by clicking the little window down here. And again, I'm trying to do this free-handed here, or single-handed. Type in DE in the window here. Go into the Device Manager. And as you can see, I got some drivers I need to work out here. This is a brand new install. So, anyway, under ports, should be 2 ports installed. You should see Silicon Labs CP210X USB to UART bridge, COM4 in my case, and COM5. You may have different COM ports listed there, and that's fine. You just need to make note of what numbers. Okay, the one that you're going to want is COM4 in my case. You'll want the first one. So take note of what COM number that is, because we'll need that for WSJT. Once you got that info, close that down. Alright, then we'll go into WSJT. Like I said before, when I started this video, or this portion of the video, as you can see, this is already configured. This is on 40 meters. Lots of stations calling, working other stations. So you go into File, Settings. Alright, the first thing you're going to want to, on a brand new install, these two fields right here will be highlighted. And that's just so to let you know that you need to put in your info there. So you'll need to put this, obviously, it's got my call and my grid in there. You'll need to put your call and your grid info in there. Okay, and as far as the other changes, this is what I have and what I recommend. So look closely. You can make changes as you see fit here, as you get more familiar with the program. This is what worked for me. Okay. Now you click on the radio tab. This is where you put in the COM information that we got before from the computer. In my case, it was COM4. Yours may be different. Okay, and this is where we set the baud rate. Remember from the radio, we set the baud rate to 9200. This is where you'll set that right here. And all of these are defaults. I did not make any changes here. You should not have to make any as well. Right here, I make sure cat was selected. This, I did not make any changes there. I believe it's not highlighted, so you can't change it. These, I did not make any changes as well. So, right here, you'll want to make, almost missed it. You'll want to change this to select Icom 7610 as the rig. I've got the pole interval set to 1 second. That's the default. So once you've pretty much, the only thing you got to change is the serial port. Make sure that's set to cat. Make sure you set the baud rate. Everything else is default. So once that's selected, go down here and you test cat. Should highlight green. If it does, you're good. Next, you want to test the push to talk. If it highlights red and your radio's engaged, it's good, which mine did. I heard a little click of the relay, so we've successfully tested the radio. So I'll sorry for the bounciness of the video, guys, but hopefully you can see the settings here. It's really not too terribly bad. Okay, so on to audio. Right here, you'll want to select microphone, make sure USB audio codec is selected. Output, make sure speakers USB audio codec is selected. You want to make sure the USB audio on both of these is selected because that's pointing to the radio. That's all the settings that you need to change there. Okay. I did not make any changes on that one. You can set up macros if you want to. I may get into that later on. I just now got this set up. The only change I made on the reporting tab was I clicked prompt me to log the QSO. I did not make any other changes in any other tabs. After you've made these changes, click OK. Close that window out. So, after you've got it configured, first thing you want to do is go down here, select 40 meters so that it the software will change it to the change your radio to the correct operating frequency for the band that you're working on for FT8, if that's what you want to work. In this case, that's 7.074 megahertz. And we're just sitting here receiving right now. As you can see, it'll start decoding. I'm not going to go into specifics on how to operate, but if you've gotten this far, there's plenty of other tutorials out there on how to operate this mode. But this video was just intended on how to get settings and your brand new computer and everything configured if you were having issues. So sound settings are another issue. As you can see, you want your receive audio to be running between about 65 to 70 on the scale. Okay, that's your mic input right there. So you adjust that by pulling up your mic. Volume control. And adjusting that volume. See if I can do it free-handed here, or about one hand. All right, there it is right there. As you can see, go to the device properties. I don't know if you can tell where I went there. I right-clicked on the little sound icon down here in the right-hand corner. Went to open sound settings. It pulled up this window here. Scroll down. Make sure the microphone USB audio codec is selected. Clicked on device properties. And right here is where you can adjust the mic sensitivity if you need to adjust that. Again, you want to make sure the little volume indicator is in the green on the got tongue-tied, WSJT software is between 65 and 70%. I found that's where kind of the sweet spot is. You can make it a little higher. You just don't want it redlining all the time. If it gets much past 80, it'll start redlining too much if you get some strong signals. If you have any type of bass boost or anything like that on your sound card, you want to disable that, by the way. Not sure why that would be on a microphone, but okay. So you back out of there, and I just always make sure that my sound output is set to 100% for the USB audio codec right here. Then we can close that window out, and this little slider bar right here controls that. That's the drive. That's the output. That controls your output signal. And you want to really monitor that and make sure that you're putting out a clean signal. There's nothing worse than having a signal that has a lot of splatter or whatever you want to call it on it. So, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So, how do you adjust for a clean signal? So, I'm on my operating frequency here, and I'm going to start calling CQ. So, select the CQ down here. Someone's taken, since I've done this tutorial, someone's taken my operating frequency. I found over here, I found a clean operating spot. I'll adjust my transmit receive. Okay. Now I'm in the clear. Now I'm going to enable TX. Now I'm going to monitor my power and my ALC. Okay, my power and my ALC. You go over here, and you just want to bump it up on the 7610 to where I found the cleanest signal is where the ALC is just being activated. So, we're in the receive sequence here. So you go over here. Now we're transmitting. All right. You want to highlight the little slider here, and I use my wheel on my mouse to scroll up, and it will adjust it for you. So now I've adjusted the ALC. See, now we got some main calling. As you can tell, just barely touching the ALC here. Just made a contact, guys. I think I need to adjust the power output just a little bit more. He sent the 73, we're good. I need to go re-enable the transmit. There we go. So now I'm just touching the ALC there. All right, we'll show it again. There we go. Yeah, see, I'm just touching the ALC there. I'm putting out 100 watts. I know, which is a lot of power for FT8, but I'm running a compromised antenna too, so there you have it. That's how that's how you set up everything. So just got another guy calling me here. I mean, it's really not that hard to do, and it's real, you know, it's pretty simple with one cable. Icom makes it real easy. So just a few simple tweaks here and there, and you can be running digital modes too. Now this is one of the easy ones, so there's a lot of other ones to explore. So and you can do those as well, like RIDI and PSK31 and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, take care, guys. 73. This is W5LL.